Hey out there, this is Friday, July 22nd, 2016, and it's about 5 minutes till 10 in the morning here in Santa Cruz, California. And rather than just showing my face today, I thought I'd give everyone a treat. Get a little sightseeing in while I'm talking. I wanted to get into current events. We got Donald Trump choosing his VP, Pence, and most people I trust and like are saying that the general Flynn would have been a better choice, and I happen to agree with that. But there's nothing we can do about it. It wasn't our call, I guess. But I want to talk about Alex Jones at the RNC and what happened with him and Young Turks. It was very disturbing, and you could tell by the thumbs down on the video. It apparently is going viral. I just watched it yesterday afternoon, probably shortly after it came out. Looked like a lot of videos had been censored by YouTube. So... Anyhow, you know what happened with Alex, and I guess one of the main guys on Young Turks was really upsetting, and it almost went to blows. It looked like, you know, neither man really assaulted the other. I guess Alex says that he'd been spit on. I know there was a lot of vitriol and really foul language being used by the Young Turks, and you know, it seems like they didn't handle it very tactfully. I think if Young Turks had ambushed Alex Jones on stage, I don't know what would have happened, but I don't think Alex, you know, might have, depending on his mood, I don't think he would have flipped out like that. And I know nobody on his staff would be using that kind of language. But anyhow, you know, it all happened. But, you know, I don't think all this stuff helps much, I got to tell you. I really think it's the spirit of Satan that's working on humanity. And until we figure that out and understand we're being divided by monsters, you know, these guys are the epitome of evil. They're the exemplification. They're the quintessential evil ones, the evil doers. They're very diabolical. And one thing they thrive on is division in the populace. Chaos, crises, social ills of every type. And, you know, today I wanted to talk kind of mostly about why maintaining plenty of poverty in the land, and that's not just in America, but all over the world. Of course, they're still trying to instill more and more poverty. As we all know, it's exploding in America. And people, you know, we're hitting that wall I talk about. When sooner or later, I mean, people are not going to accept the exclusive privilege of prosperity forever. And that's what I mean. People are waking up and they're saying, you know what, why can't we all have prosperity? Who exactly is keeping this from me? You know, why are people saying that the cost of living is a tax? I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to figure it out. I stopped wanting to be taxed without representation. You know, there was a news blurb on the local TV up in Northern California about hinting that landlords should start caring about the homeless, and you know, just a tiny little like 10-second blurb, you know, about how they've got to work together with the government somehow, and it wasn't even as long as that. It was just a little tiny tidbit that was very sugar-coated. Because they know the controversy here. If you end poverty, if we end homelessness, the people start feeling secure, they start feeling free, they get a little uppity, and then they want more and more. And that's what the evildoers don't want. They don't want to lose control. They need poverty above all else. Without poverty, their plan to depopulate the earth through dissuading people from hooking up and having children, okay? It has a huge effect in the West, okay? People don't want to hook up. If a guy doesn't feel secure, okay, he sure as hell doesn't feel like he can raise a family, okay? He feels pathetic and weak. That's what it does to you. It hurts your dignity, and it makes you feel hopeless. That's what poverty does, okay? They're dividing us. They've got us at each other's throats, okay, intentionally. That's what they want. They would love to instigate a civil war, a new civil war. They just make money. They gain more control, more relevance, and this is what it's all about. You see, they absolutely need poverty, so they have plenty of crime, even though it'd be dramatically cheaper, very much fiscally prudent, more prudent, to just prevent poverty in the first place than to have all these people being financially desperate. And then it costs the taxpayers over $50,000 a year to keep a guy in jail in California. This is a matter of fact, okay? So, sometimes the stuff I talk about, people think I'm a socialist maybe, or they think that, I'm just an idealist and all this crap. But you know what? I'm not for taking from others to give to others. I'm just for allowing others to to have as well. Okay, I'm for full prosperity, universal prosperity. My attitude is that at birth, we should just be handed shares in the planet. For the brief time we're all just passing through here, we've got to just, recognize the fact that this earth belongs to God. We're all God's children, equally beloved. And, we've got to understand that He would share. It's not God that's keeping prosperity from humanity. Okay? It's not His will. Okay, this is a diabolical, deliberate scheme to defraud humanity in perpetuity, but it can't work. It can't work because knowledge is like a light that just keeps getting brighter and brighter, and there's nothing these evildoers can do to stop it. So they're, one way or another, they're going down. I just don't have a lot of faith in humanity. Sometimes I do. I get fleeting, moments of faith. Like this morning, I was in Boulder Creek visiting a dear friend in Boulder Creek, and I stopped at the gas station to get a cup of coffee while I was leaving for Santa Cruz, and met a couple guys there, met a couple of great friends, brothers in the Lord, and one guy's big white guy's always hanging around the gas station, Herman, and then this black guy, I didn't get his name, but we were talking, and he was talking about thinking the UN was good and having a debate with Herman, and we talked things over, and I really think that it was a productive conversation, because the UN, wherever they seem to go in, and they just make things worse. I mean, look what they did in Iraq. Okay, weren't they largely the guys, the authorities at the time that were supposed to be overseeing that thing? So no, I don't have any regard for them. They're part of this New World Order cabal. Look up Agenda 21. What they want to do is depopulate the earth on an unspeakable scale. Okay, 7 billion of us. That's well over 90%. As far as my rudimentary math in my head is that 90% of 7.5 billion is about 7 billion people. So, that's the long and short of this thing. So the question is humanity going to be able to stand up and say, look, we're not each other's enemies. They have trained us to believe we are each other's enemies. They're causing a class warfare. They're causing all this very powerful division, and it hasn't stopped yet. I mean, for a while, you got a certain segment, a lot of special interest groups that have been getting the long end of the stick. Let's just take, for example, landlords. Landlords have been getting the long end of the stick economically, but that's all coming to an end. And the reason is because they're just becoming tax collectors for the Federal Reserve. That's it. I mean, they got to hand over the vast majority of all that rent they collect right to the bankers. And they're going to get tired of it. They're going to say, I don't like this job very much. And there's nobody out there that wants it. Things have to change. We've got the social welfare system subsidizing this whole, debacle, and just exacerbating the problem. Okay, that's what's going on. They're exacerbating the problem. Okay, they're feeding it. And now the government has become an enemy of the people. That's it. They're a special interest group. And they're making our problems worse because they are the guys validating every whim of the central bank, the Federal Reserve. They're the ones that are validating. They're giving their stamp of approval. Wasn't that it? Politicians? The government? Who is the government? Bunch of politicians, right? Bureaucrats and whatnot. And they said, oh yeah, that was okay what the banks did, and yeah, we'll bail you out because we're so scared of the implications, the ramifications from defrauding the American public. Okay, so we've got to bail you guys out. We got to let you take over the government. So we got the Federal Reserve really is at the head of our government. They're more powerful than the politicians. Okay, because they know anything they want, the politicians will rubber stamp, i.e. the government. Okay, so we're in a whole heap of trouble, and people better wake up really quick. You know, have a little empathy for your fellow man. I mean, people talk about empathy for immigrants, empathy for refugees. What about empathy for our native sons and daughters and our veterans that are dying out on the streets? In America, they're committing genocide right under our noses, and people are at each other's throats for stupid little things because nobody knows what the word socialism means. Nobody knows what the word fascism means. Nobody knows what the word crony capitalism means. But we better learn. We better get smart because things are wrapping up really quick. And you better know what to expect, you know, big changes. But we should not be fighting each other. We should all focus as one. Okay, one, and go after these people at the very top. So who are the kingpins? Who's really the government in America? It's the Federal Reserve bankers. That's who's really the government. But the government, in a way, they're worse because they're the ones that are validating it. Without the government validating it, it couldn't happen. Why can't we do what Iceland did? Now Iceland, the people of Iceland, are doing really well right now because what they did, they ousted a lot of these criminal, corrupt banksters, and the rest they put in jail. And now the Icelandians are doing just fine. So why can't we do that in America? That's what Donald Trump should do if he becomes president. Okay, that's the kind of thing we need. Yeah, there's going to be a bloodbath. Patriots and traitors, right? And I don't want it. I'm the last guy in the world that wants violence. I hate violence. I'm a pacifist. The God that I know, the God of the Bible, detests, okay, his soul detests those that love violence. But who's instigating it? Who's provoking it? But people got to wake up and don't take offense at being deceived. You know, I've said this before and I've said it again. Listen, there's nothing immoral or stupid about being lied to and believing the lie. That's what people got to figure out. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a reflection on your character. You know, on your ethical stance, okay, your principles, anything like that. It just means you've been deceived. So the sooner you wake up to the big picture and how roundly we're all like mesmerized, we're born into corruption, okay, an unreality that's just been manufactured, conjured up is a better term. That's what our reality is. We're born beholden to the money masters. Tell me one other creature that's born beholden to the money masters and why we should be tolerating this crap. Okay, when every religious faith out there tells you, look, this isn't it, man. This isn't the way. Money is the root of all evil. You know, we all know it. It's all in our faces. We all know truth from lies. But, you know, look at, we've been so deceived that all we can do at this point is admit we've been deceived. Okay, that's it. And then say, come out of Babylon, come out of confusion. Confusion and deceit have a lot to do with each other. A lot in common, as does ignorance, you know, and what's worse is the willful ignorance, because then you become like a deceiver. If you think you're so smart, you know, this is where all these whistleblowers come in. You hear these whistleblowers, and I've been kind of like a whistleblower in the real estate industry. I think I've talked about some stuff I'd never heard any other blogger talk about out there, talking about, you know, the kind of stuff